What's up? It's Tom. The Twins won today. They won the series against the Mets, who've been playing really well, so big deal. And I thought it was especially key because they actually not everything went their way. And I think that was the first time they've won a game this year in which it felt like not everything actually went their way, which you got to do that. You got to do that a lot over a 162-game season. So I think this was a pretty big day for the Twins, winning 4-3 in the 10th inning. The Saints... That is the real score. The Saints got absolutely destroyed. The Wind Surge lost in extra innings in 14 innings. And if you think that's insane, the Colonels game, I'll show you some highlights. I can't keep going with that game. I got to throw in the towel. And the Mighty Mussels won 1-0 tonight. The Twins, not only did they get over some things that didn't go well, they showed emotion. Byron Buxton is definitely the emotional leader of this team, firing the boys up. So great to see. He had another good game. The Twins were really aggressive on the bases, including Buxton. And Buxton was the guy who scored the game-winning run here. Ty France drives him in the 10th inning, single up the middle, and that speed of Buxton puts pressure on the defense, and he ended up coming around to score the game winner. Awesome stuff. David Festa started this game. It's almost hard to remember. You get to a game that goes into the 10th inning. The early parts of the game feel so distant by then. Struck out 6 over 4 1/3 shutout innings. Obviously not a very long start. Didn't get a ton of leash. 76 pitches. He did hit a batter, I believe, in the 5th inning, and that was kind of part of the puzzle of why he got taken out so early. But Danny Coulomb was up to the task. He pitched perfect over his inning and 2/3. Then Varland shut him down. Handed the ball to Griffin Jax with a 3-0 lead. It's the formula. It's the formula you want. It's exactly how you want things set up. Unfortunately, the Mets get to Griffin Jax. He gives up 3 runs. The Mets tied it up in the 8th inning. You see the notes down there. Jax, for some reason, only threw 2 four-seam fastballs against 22 pitches. Not sure what that was, but luckily his buddies, Jhoan, Duran, and Cole Sands really picked him up. Duran faced the back and then the bottom, and then the top of the Mets lineup. Got through the 9th inning without allowing them to score. And then Cole Sands, with that bonus runner at second, he walks Pete Alonso, then gets a double play and then a pop-out to prevent the Mets from scoring. I feel like that's super difficult with that Manfred man on second to get a shutout inning there, and Cole Sands got it done. Maybe some batted ball luck there, but hey, we'll take it. So great to see the Twins pick up Griffin Jax when it wasn't his day. And Ty France, it wasn't his day up until he got that game-winning hit. He struck out 3 times. That was his only hit. Byron Buxton was 2 for 5, scored that run, drove in a run. Was the game-winning run there. He scored. Harrison Bader had a couple hits, a walk. He also got an assist in the 2nd inning, threw a man out at home in the 2nd inning in this game that was tied 0-0 for so long. Drove in the first run in the 5th inning, did Harrison Bader, and then he made a run-saving catch in the 8th inning. So a massive, massive game for Harrison Bader, who is just coming up huge. He'll probably slow down at some point, but then somebody else is going to pick up this pace. So it's been really key that he's been playing well early. Willie Castro had a couple hits. He did leave this game with a minor oblique injury. It doesn't sound like anything that's going to require an IL stint. Carlos Correa, who injured his wrist yesterday, came in and played defense. So, because Willie was playing shortstop, so Carlos, good. They didn't want him to swing a bat, but he's good enough to be out there in the field. So that's somewhat encouraging. Though Matt Wallner was placed on the injured list with a hamstring strain, so he's going to be out a little while. So the Twins acquired Jonah Bride, who's an infielder, mostly third base, second base, first base. Career 640 OPS in 181 MLB games. He is out of options, so I don't think this is any kind of a long-term thing. I think this is, hey, this guy's out there and available. The Twins they traded cash for him. I think he's just sort of a guy they can throw out there and trust to kind of be a bench player while a bunch of guys are out injured right now. No offense to Jonah Bride, but hopefully the Twins get healthy enough that they don't need him around for too long. But he is a guy that's been pretty successful in AAA. That's why he's gotten so many opportunities in the big leagues. The minor league pitchers, Andrew Morris topped out at 99.3 miles per hour, but he also got beat up. The Iowa Cubs, man, that was the team that the Baseball America said was the most talented team in the minor leagues. They beat the bejesus out of the Saints today. They scored 20 runs. Although I do want to point out that 7 of them were off Anthony Prado, okay, who's a hitter. Hit 3 home runs off Anthony Prado. Anyway, they beat up Andrew Morris. Give him credit for that. And even though Morris was hitting velocities I've never seen from him, 99.3. I mean, wow. He threw his four-seamer almost half of the time, which isn't really a recipe for success for him, despite how hard he's throwing it. And per Baseball Savant, he only threw 4 sweepers. I think there's a chance maybe some of his cutters they were counting were sliders or sweepers, but not sure what was going on with his pitch mix today. Corey Lewis followed him and gave up 4 home runs in 2 2/3 innings. So, okay, the iCubs, I don't like that you beat up on my guy Anthony Prado, but man, did you do a number on those 2? Wow, impressive. I think there were 12 home runs hit in that game. We'll take a look at a couple here. Ty Langenberg, I'm kind of bummed out. He had another subpar start, so he's had back-to-back subpar starts to start the year. And then the Mighty Mussels, I want to dedicate a complete page to them because they were unbelievable. This is their entire pitching line. They won 1-0. 19 strikeouts these guys combined for and 1 hit. Now, should be fair to point out that this is a major league rehabber in Brock Stewart with 2 AA rehabbers in Christian McLeod and Pearson Ole playing at low A. So, maybe kind of an unfair advantage there, but still 19 strikeouts and 1 hit over 9 shutout innings. And tip of the cap to Dylan Questad, who's a younger guy who got it done, pitched the final 3 innings of no-hit ball, walked a couple of guys, but struck out 4. Brock Stewart, this was his 2nd rehab outing, and he topped out at 95 miles per hour, which he's averaged 97 the past couple of years. So to see him topping out at 95 is not real, doesn't make it feel real good, but he's ramping up. Hopefully the velo is there. He's still way down in Fort Myers. I imagine he'll probably pitch for the Saints time or two before the Twins turn to him, so maybe he's just ramping up. Carson McCusker hit 2 home runs in that crazy Saints game with all the runs. Kyler Fedko homered for the Wind Surge, who had a horrible, that lineup. Oh my gosh. 2 for 22 with runners in scoring position. They lost 16 men on base, did Wichita. That's tough. That's tough to do. Brandon Winokur had a nice game for the Colonels, but he had a big risk that he took in the top of the 9th inning. He had drawn a walk to get on base, moved over to second base on hit by pitch. He tried to steal third, jumping off, tried to time the pitcher, and he jumped off the base early and ended up getting thrown out, big out in that inning. We'll take a look at how that inning progressed in a sec. Jay Thomason in that Fort Myers game that they won 1-0, he had a home run, the only run scored in that entire game. It was a game that lasted barely over 2 hours. Kind of crazy. But some highlights, Carson McCusker, again, he hit 2 home runs. Here's the first one. And you see some of his year-to-date stats down at the bottom there. He's tearing it up. OPS north of 1,000. He is striking out a lot, but he's also drawing a decent amount of walks. So he's kind of balancing that. He's always going to strike out a ton. But if he can continue to hit in AAA, it might not be too much longer before he might get a shot with how many guys who are injured. Mentioned this Colonels game that I threw in the towel on. That game was in progress when I started recording this because it just got too crazy. Colonels down to their final strike here with Kadeem Jhoan at the plate and men on, and he pops it up. And, it's a great thing that pitchers can't field pop-ups for some reason because this falls in. That's how they tied it up in the top of the 9th inning. That's one of the most absurd things about baseball to me is that how we've had all sorts of crazy pitching defense with the Twins. I get that the other guys, the other infielders are much more used to fielding pop-ups than the pitcher, and it's also kind of a difficult thing if you're coming off the mound. That can add some trickiness. Oh my God, I'm sure that pitcher wishes he would have called that and caught it. So that's why I had to give up on that one. It looked like he was maybe hopefully going to go into extras since the Colonels were on the road. But just wild. Game tying. Yeah. Anyway, On that note, thanks for checking this one out. I appreciate you. We'll talk again soon.